What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 3 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Skarbrand the Exiled Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, by virtue of a random war declaration from the Knights of Origo, Skarbrand was forced to travel from Grand Timengol all the way down to the coastline, past the Mortis River Delta and towards Zandri. And Al-Haik, we were able to destroy the Knights of Origo in a massive fight into Zandri and then conquer Al-Haik itself, and will now be proceeding to fight whatever else is here. Since we're here, we may as well pick up a few extra skulls along the way, not just those of the Bretonnian peasantry, but also of the nicely polished skulls of the undead here. Arcana is poised to be our first target by the looks of it, and we will probably start this off by attacking him, assuming that there's nothing else to do. Oh wait, actually, Tavi, let us get to you starting to sail out here. I guess you can join in on the fun. I mean, in theory, we will need somebody to recruit stuff eventually, but you might as well go leech XP. I accidentally sent you way too far towards Morgheim. We do have this vassal, and because Malagor, now being a vassal, can't fight these guys, we should be okay in terms of just letting him sit there, raid, do whatever he does, and hopefully he won't die. Otherwise, we got some upgrades that we could potentially do, and we did get some cash, so I guess we can get the trophy chambers, although... You know what, let's get the trophy chambers at Agrul Migdal, but Gorgazan, we would replace this with a iron building plus a fortification. In theory, eventually, once this all is raised, we wouldn't need the fortification, but for now we probably will, so we're just gonna have to leave it there. And obviously the iron has to be pretty critical. You know what, let's just upgrade Gorgazan to tier 3. I was thinking of just waiting for this, because it would take probably several turns for you to go back to tier 2-able, but we gotta wait several turns anyway, and just do it now. Just do it now, it's not a big deal. Alright, I think that's it, right? Galbaraz is... oh, I guess we could upgrade these, though I am kind of concerned that Scrag the Slaughterer will attempt to attack Grand Timengol, which would then also need a fortification, especially since Salt is pretty good, and we'll want to keep that for ourselves. Stormhenge is relatively safe by virtue of not being a coastal settlement, though. Oh, wait. Was there a reason I kept Grand Timengol as a dimensional breach? I don't think so. You switch to Dark Bastion. And you will upgrade to a Dark Bastion. Alright, now I think we're good. And you know what? We may as well just go for Kill for Khorne and get the additional growth now. Alright, happy with the rest of that? Skarby, it's time. Arcan the Black, you are currently at war with High Elf Sea Patrol and Chevalier de Lianas. You are allied with the Awakened. Oh, that's going to be a little bit annoying if they sail towards us, but it is what it is. We're going to declare war on you, bud. Actually, wait, you know what? Before we do, and not to keep teasing you guys, you know you... wait. I think you won't be able to reach us. Yeah, I just want to make sure that these guys get into position first and don't get in the way. Because we'll want them to leech XP from several fights. Oh, there's a third army here? Wait, how does he have 3 armies? It's turn 16. Huh, maybe there's... huh. Have Doom Kings been reworked since I've played them last? I feel like 3 armies at turn 16 seems like a fair bit for them. Because they're essentially just free full stacks, right? Odd. Not a big deal, but odd. Alright, you can move on in either way, and presumably now we can declare war.
You cannot barter now. I know your weakness.
I'm sorry, you think Skarbrand would barter? Okay. Oh, silly Arcan, declare war. Yeah, the Awakened will indeed join, and Talisman of Endurance for free. Do we already have a Talisman of Endurance or no? Skarby, we do. Alright. Too bad we can't give a Talisman of Endurance to Khorne's Bloody Fist. Oh, that would be just lovely. Oh, also, now we have a use for the Crimson Fiends here. They could, I guess, raise the Pools of Despair before moving this way. Go around this way and then attack. Like so. Do we want to preserve the unit? I think we do. Plus we do have a Bloodthirster and some Furies here. Yeah, alright, let's do this little quick fight to start the day. Alrighty, here we go, a quickie to start the day, and, we've got a lot of factions speaking in their own language, like Draika and the Chaos Dwarves and whatnot. I'm surprised that the Heralds of Khorne just sort of speak English. Huh. You'd think that the demons wouldn't be trying to, would maybe use the Dark Tongue to talk to each other. Well, I mean, the demons probably wouldn't bother talking to each other, especially Khorne demons, at all, but I just figured that they should, and be spitting Dark Tongue invective. But anyway, I suppose it doesn't matter over much. What does matter is that the battle has begun. We send forth our regular bloodthirster. Not the Khorne's bloody fist, but still I'm sure more than strong enough to take on a poor little Tomb Prince here. Big ol' axe comes down, the Tomb Prince is about 15 to 10% of his HP, and though he sends his bodyguard to help him out, I don't think those Nehekara warriors have a prayer either. There we go. In the meantime, the regular Bloodletters march on in with the units of Exalted Bloodletters in the center, with their fiery, armor-piercing, magical damage. They are pretty much a perfect counter to the infantry of the Tomb Kings. Over on the left flank, we have caught a unit of skeleton horsemen, and we'll use our rapid damage-dealing Chaos Furies of Khorne to tear them to shreds, and are going to do the same exact thing to the other fast mover, so that they cannot irritatingly use their charge bonuses against us. The Flesh Hounds and the Furies will tear this one apart. I believe the Tomb Prince is done for. One more hit and the Bloodthirster will defeat him. He was fighting armless already. And the final blow brings him low. With the Prince's fall, the enemy begins to melt away, and now only a matter of time as the last of these skeletons disappear back and beneath the dunes. Alright, cute little fight. I will probably, by and large, try to avoid too many fights with the Blood Host. For those of you that remember the Skulltaker campaign, it was really fun, but I maybe went a little bit too hard on doing a ton of the a lot of the Blood Host fights. I think we can play around it and not necessarily devolve into a million billion minor fights, so we'll try to avoid that. Anyway. Alrighty, there we go. A quick little fight, some cheap skulls, our Bloodthirster taking out the enemy lord, and our Furies working well with everybody else to take out the fast movers and all the rest of the enemies. Lovely. We will raise this skulls for the Skull Throne, because we don't really care that much about healing this Blood Host, and I have no intention of occupying the place, so do that. Agent of Blood. I think we already have one of these on Skarbrand. Unless I'm mistaken, yeah, we do. But it'll come in handy, I'm sure. You can now... Well, I guess you can't raid. Huh. What's the defenses like at the Eye of the Panther? Not that great. Alright, start moving this way, then. May as well. Put you to use, put you to work, etc. Skarby, speaking of, let us... I don't care for the giving everybody feral rage, so I'm going to say just go for... Well, I mean...
No, this cannot.
Will it help us against these guys? Not really. Well, it might help the Hex Wraiths and the Direwolves from moving away. I don't really want to lose the movement range. That's the thing that worries me. And I know that we still regain movement range, but wouldn't we regain more movement range by not being in the stance? Consumes when entering stance. I'm sure we'll be fine with that. I'll just do it. Not the, not, what? Wait. Is that another army? Give me a second. It is another, wait, so he has 4 armies at turn 16? 4 armies at turn 16. Huh. I think this is why the Tomb Kings have been incredibly overpowered seeming in the last few patches in SFO. They always make absolutely massive empires. If they just start off with 4 full stacks pretty much immediately, it is no surprise that they're conquering all the territory and destroying everybody around them. Go figure. Plus in the late game they have that They have that leadership reduction. Interesting. Anyway, yes, we will go after Arcan and Martek here. We got these two to reinforce. Only one guy to heal up, unfortunately, because I think the other guy wouldn't be able to reinforce. Just to triple check it. I think not. He might be able to help out here, but I also don't want him to die. So, oh. There's also little parts of Sarto's army out here. Actually fairly friendly with us, though I'm willing to bet that they won't be super happy about us attacking Arcan in a moment because of his bonus relationship with them, but anyway. We'll see if it matters and how much it matters, and either way we're killing Arcan. Filthy, filthy caster. Go. Alrighty, ooh, Skarbrand looks pretty darn good in this particular lighting, which I'm excited for, as that means that this battle is probably gonna look pretty darn good as well. Alrighty, now what do we have here? Arcan the Black Arrayed in a big old front line, in fact, sort of almost not quite in the corner of the map, but kind of in the corner of the map. Kind of interesting, considering we were looking to perhaps get around him and send those Fleshhounds around to take out the enemy archers. But I guess since the enemy has positioned himself basically at the edge of the map and towards the corner, we can't do that, and we'll have to assault the main enemy army a different way. Fair enough. Alrighty, it looks like they will reposition slightly. But it's time to move. Skarbrand is going to take the lead and dodge a little bit of fire from the enemy units of skeleton archers. And just like the peasant bowmen, even though they're a super basic unit, they are still a fairly decent threat with the sheer weight of fire, so... What isn't a threat is any infantry unit, as they can't hold Skarbrand back. He's going to head directly to Arcan and force him into Rampage, taking out about 10% of his HP with his first blows, while summoning a unit of Bloodletters to pin down the Hex Wraiths, the other critical unit that the enemy has. We certainly don't want the magical damage-dealing Hex Wraiths to be charging our non-summoned Bloodletters, so we'll pin them with the summons, and then have the Khorne's Bloody Fist work its way through them with its anti-large bonus. Not that the low melee defense and general fragility of the Hex Wraiths will allow them to survive either way. Sad to see, as they are, and well, they have been for a very long time now, my very favorite unit in the game. But I'm sure I'll get to play around with them in short order again. Anyway, looks like Skarbrand has taken about 50% HP out of Arcan, but he's lost about 35, maybe even 40% of his own, which is actually fairly impressive. I assume that he's been just getting hit with repeated spirit leeches, hence the damage, the extra damage that he's been taking. And once again, unlike the Khorne's Bloody Fist, he does not yet have Gore Feast to heal himself, and just by virtue of being in melee, but he will eventually. On the bright side, while Skarby is still dueling, the enemy's main line is collapsing. Crypt Ghouls being cut down in droves by the Bloodletters, and of course hitting us back, but not being able to penetrate to the armor of the Chaos Warriors of Khorne with axe and board. We have trapped the enemy Tomb Scorpion here, and we should be able to hack it apart with those Bloodletters, as even the basic ones have a decent little bit of armor-piercing damage. Lovely. It looks like Arcan is down to 5 or 10% of his HP. One more blow will finish him. And, okay, of course you have to, whenever I say one more blow, you're gonna have to miss. There you go. In fact, you didn't miss that one, but it looked like you kind of walked through him. Fair enough. Huh. I've seen Skarbrand's infantry execution animation. I wonder if he has any, other, well, I'll just have to pay attention to whatever else he can do. There's that execution animation where he picks up an infantry unit and then just slams them back into the ground. Not as good as Valky's slam into the ground, by any means. But his other animations are just magnificent, so... Skarbrand, very fun to watch. Anyway, the Hex Wraiths have been defeated. The Ushabti have desperately been summoned on field, but with Arcan's fall, the rest of his army melts away. Skarbrand takes out a few more what do we think? Are Ushabti, I mean, they don't technically have skulls, but there is a soul. Does the skull have to be made of bone? There is a soul attached to the construct, so beheading the construct and taking its head, is that actually worth anything to the Khornates or not? They can't bleed. I don't know. What do y'all think? Anyway, close victory, a nice fight, and, well, by the looks of it, plenty more to come this very turn. Alrighty, I never say no to a free glittering scales, nor a surprisingly nice fight. A close victory, and Arcan did a pretty solid amount of damage. I don't know how much of that was from spell work, or how much of it was from dueling Skarbrand, but he held on, that's the one, much longer than I was expecting him to. Good for him. Otherwise, we did pretty well. The Khorne's Bloody Fist remains damaged, but, well, it was surrounded by Hex Wraiths and dogs and a Tomb Prince and something else, I think, as well. Oh, and then the Summoned Ushabti as well, so perhaps unsurprising. Thanks to Gore Feast, however, we should be able to get it back up and running in short order. Anyway, we will, I guess, raise the place. We still have to give up 1,000 skulls for this, but it's not gonna happen. This is basically worthless. We could use one of these guys to occupy it after we sack it. Raising it will, however, allow us to recover our movement range, even if this gives us effectively no reward. But then again, so does winning a battle, doesn't it? So we'd still be able to recover enough to probably move towards this guy by sacking it. Yeah, but we wouldn't have the skulls to occupy this place anyway, so yeah, just skulls it. Just skulls it. I suppose we could do it next turn with, like, the... If we sack it now and then ignore it, it would, you know what, sack it, ignore it, don't occupy it, it'll recover its garrison. Oh wait, but then this guy will be around to take, unless we kill you too. I'll think about it. Blood Collector, sure, and there's that Glittering Scales. Defeated Arcan, and a little bit of extra effectiveness against them, and hey, a Blood Shrine, and a Juggernaut, no, take the Blood Shrine. Ooh, you also have Icon of Slaughter, gotta get that fight or die. There's other good stuff as well. Huh. Wait, so Hungering Blades, wait a moment. Fighter buffs everybody, okay, put you on the Blood Throne first. You have a Luckstone, the Rock of Inevitability, and that Glittering Scales. Again, we are a little bit shy on some weapons, but what can you do? You know what, hold off on this. Because Hungering Blade, well, actually no, because Hungering Blades is an imbuement, it will negate your Sundered Armor, meaning, yeah, you go Icon of Slaughter. Though in other armies, there's a decent argument to be made for going for Scythe upon Chaff in order to max out the healing capabilities of that Blood Throne. Anyway, Skarby, you are not at rank 13 yet. Just gotta work at it, bud. Really? 1 point for a +6 charge bonus and no extra melee attack? Ugh. That's terrible. Honestly, the buffs for the Bloodletters are pretty lackluster. But anyway, not that it's important or anything. Yeah, I'm gonna ignore this for now. You will position yourself here to leech this. You should now be close enough to leech this, though I fear that this guy will run. I wouldn't be surprised at any rate. Can we kill all of these armies? Let's find out. Also, trying to actually click you. Kill this. You will indeed run, but will you run far enough? Oh, surprisingly far. Perhaps unsurprisingly far, but not far enough. Alright, so you cannot reach them, but it looks like a Rager can. Fantastic. Let's get your Root Marcher. I know we've been saving for this, but frankly, all of you could probably use Root Marcher. Without Skarby protecting you, you're gonna be in a dangerous position anyway. Not Pav. Rager, go here. And you're gonna go here. We will chase this army down. Like so. Heroic victory. Oh wow, that's a lot of horsemen. Oh, that's a completely different army than Arcan himself had. Interesting. Icon of Endless War, and I'm just now realizing we could have had the Hounds of the Blood Hunt and put them in here. Oh well. This gives you leadership and vigor. Well, you don't have perfect vigor, so you might as well give this to you. Although, actually... Maybe perfect vigor, considering how much you fight, maybe this would be the better option for you. Granted, I'll think about it. Because of the Scarecrow banner, it might still be of use to us. Anyway, we're fighting this as well because of the Pyrrhic victory and all that. Go.
Throughout this land in a tide of blood, Khorne commands it.
Alrighty, gotta love it when Skarbrand makes that gesture and the little maniacal laugh. Though interestingly, you can't actually hear him laughing. It should be a great bellowing laugh to the heavens. But anyway. Now what do we have arrayed against us? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4 again, or 3 again on this side of the fast moving. Oh, the 4th one is all the way out here, as well as a dire wolves. So basically a half stack, actually more than a half stack if we count the range units of fast movers. We're going to have to play around the fact that they have all of these guys and they could charge us at any moment. So we will send 4 of our units of bloodletters to charge the enemy, while we hold our units of Chaos Warriors of Khorne, as well as some Fleshhounds and Bloodletters in reserve for when the enemy fast movers move towards us, and obviously counteract them. Our newly blood-shrined up Blood Reaper, the first son, will move on in, debuffing, or buffing rather, our units, and probably getting plenty of kills, as these guys are fairly solid infantry mincers. I remember the Blood Reapers in Skulltaker's campaign getting tons and tons of work. Otherwise, the enemy lord, level 12, has been defeated by the 2 bloodthirsters, which just keep ganging up on these poor lords. It isn't really needed per se, but it is nice to have them be taken out a little bit quicker. Now the enemy fast movers have engaged on the left flank, but are remaining in reserve on the right flank, interestingly enough. So we will reposition and charge our Fleshhounds over onto this side to help knock these guys out faster. And just as we move the Fleshhounds away, it looks like the fast movers on the right flank move in. Interesting. Good job to the AI for waiting for that, but by virtue of the fact that we were able to hold enough units in reserve, I'm not sure that it's going to work out so well for them. Dire Wolves are too fragile to contribute too much to this, especially with that magical damage to dish out, well, damage to the fragile Bloodletters here. Skarbrand has managed to actually catch the skeleton horse archers, but they were pretty much at the edge of the map anyway. But he forces them into a rampage, and then we charge on in with our Fleshhounds. A few of them do get knocked out by arrow fire, but the Fleshhounds will be able to tear these guys to shreds, no problem. And again, Fleshhounds they're big boys. I mean, they are, well, by the look of it, significantly bigger than a skeletal horse at least. But they do have flesh on them, so it does kind of make sense. Anyway. I mean, they are flesh hounds. Anyway, the battle is now about 85% in our favor. The enemy's flanking maneuvers have both failed, especially now that the Bloody Fist of Khorne has arrived to anchor the line. Not that it was much needed, as our units of Chaos Warriors of Khorne held very, very well. And these are the basic cavalry of the enemy, after all. Without Necropolis Knights, they just don't have the armor piercing necessary to deal with the Chaos Warriors, though they can certainly hurt the Bloodletters. This is not a summoned unit, it's just taken a lot of damage here. Which, you know, fair enough. And it does start to actually melt away, I believe. So we will start backing it off, or at the very least comes close to starting to melt away. So we will give it that wild abandon. They do lose all their melee defense, but no unit can die, and that is valuable on its own. Especially if the unit starts melting. Anyway, with that, the enemy balance of power shifts full, well, the balance of power in general shifts fully in our favor. And a few more skeletons to be hacked apart and the rest to disintegrate. And there we go. With that, another battle is ours, and more to come on this burgeoning rampage. Alright, there we go, another nice little fight, and 1,000 skulls for it. I think we can take that. Much as I'd like the additional army replenishment and casualty replenishment and movement and all that, but yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the skulls this time. But anyway, as I was saying, nice little fight that was interesting by virtue of the fact that the enemy decided to hold a bunch of its horse and just generally fast movers in reserve, which meant that we had to shadow them and also keep a bunch of our forces in reserve in terms of getting ready for whenever they were going to strike. So yeah, certainly interesting there. We will reap the captives. Yes, yes. Alright, another one bites the dust of these armies. We are out of range of Virus, eh? Now, I would like to go for Virus.
Landfolk are weak. Come on board. I'll guarantee your safety.
These guys do like us.
As long as you bring
You're at war with the
good
Famished and the
tidings.
Warherd of the Shadowgate. Wait, you're at war with the Warherd of the Shadowgate? Huh. Kind of interesting. They really like us. Again, I don't dislike the idea of having Mourngulls just because they look cool, but they don't really offer us all that much in the way of anything interesting, other than the fact that they do have stock. Either way, what we would have to do here is to increase our speed by using the Unholy Manifestation in order to jump between these guys, and again leaving Virus alone, which I can't say I like that much either. Oh, and this guy will probably run, which might not give us enough range to actually reach him either. You're in march stance, though, which is kind of interesting. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna say go here. Like so. You will go here. In march stance. Okay, I hope I don't screw any of this up and then leave our armies to die. We'll see. Wow, you can move far. What the heck? Damn. I'm concerned about how far you'll still be able to move next turn. I guess we'll see. Anyway, now Skarby, we are going to use the Eternal War and summon a hostile Khorne army to attack you. Like so. We will auto-resolve this. Hopefully it doesn't kill a million billion bloodletters. Way more than I'd like. I'm not surprised, but I am annoyed. We'll go for Devour Captives to get some of that back. Then that will... Huh, you survived? Ah, damn. Actually would have worked nicely for us if it had survived. Yeah, we haven't recovered a lot of our movement range, unfortunately, so I think we'll use this little army of Sartosa to bounce towards the enemy.
Look port, then starboard. All
I'm just wondering whether we should just attack them and then immediately peace out so we don't have to defend all of this. Again, it depends on how much I want the Mourngulls, and I'm not entirely sure how much I want them. But anyway, Skull Throne, what do we have here? Summon from Beyond, give us the ability to summon Bloodletters. Would be helpful, but do we really want to waste 1,000 skulls on this right now? We'll need 1,000 of them to capture Vulture Mountain, and then another 2,500 rather to capture another place. And I haven't been getting as much as I'd like through actual fighting. Nothing like that fight against the orcs, to be certain. Anyway, let's increase mobility, let's grab Tough as Nails, let's go for Witness Me, and then we'll immediately grab the movement range increase as a priority, like so. Keep Skarbrand traveling as far and as fast as he can. Then, you are currently at war with the Famished, so we will ask the Famished to join war against the Pirates of Sartosa, take their money, like so. Alright, then we will kill off this army. I wonder, would you reinforce? Are you close enough? I guess we're about to find out. Skarby, kill this. We will fight this, Pyrrhic victory and all that, and it's a lot of animated hulks, not to be underestimated. And we are still damaged, and oh wow, Rager is starting to really take that damage. But anyway, lots and lots of fighting, the fighting continues, go.
Today we sing a song of slaughter. Blood, skull, strength, Khorne.
Alrighty, here we go. I kind of like the idea that this army was just sort of this faction is friendly with us, but they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Skarbrand is on a rampage, tearing through army after army, and there is an army in his way, on the path of his rampage, and so I think, I don't think anybody would doubt that they would fall upon them and try to destroy them. Anyway, we're going to wait a little bit for the reinforcements to arrive, but otherwise get ready to position our units to move towards the enemy. The units of the Chaos Warriors of Khorne will obviously lead, as we need their shields against all of the enemy range units, hand cannons and gunnery mobs, and just generally any of the Vampire Coast gunnery units are absolutely not to be underestimated. And we could rapidly lose a unit if we're not careful. There is, of course, that bloated corpse, but we'll be trying to run Skarbrand directly at it and just generally see what we can do. The bloated corpse is only sort of incidental here. The real thing that Skarbrand wants to do is also to move towards the deck droppers and force them into Rampage, because those guys will be targeting our single entities, because the AI always does with them. And we certainly don't want them to kill either Skarbrand or the Bloody Fist of Khorne. And they're probably too fast for the Bloody Fist to catch, so yeah. Anyway, like I said, the tip of the spear will be the sword and board units, taking those bullets on their shields and moving towards the Sartosan pirates. Sartosan Free Company against the Chaos Warriors of Khorne is a pretty bad matchup, however, for the poor Sartosans, and the Khornate axes will tear them to shreds in short order. In the meantime, the Bloodletters now close, since the Chaos Warriors have taken the brunt of the enemy damage. We'll still take a few hits, but at the same time, our Fleshhounds have gotten around the enemy and are now closing the distance. Skarbrand has dropped down to a mere 30% of his HP, as obviously the deck droppers keep gunning him down, keep trying to go after him, but we do manage to force them into Rampage and then send one of the units of Fleshhounds to hopefully bleed them. And there we go, with that, the battle is joined. We have our units of Chaos Warriors of Khorne in critical positions over on the left and right flank, keeping at bay the enemy units. On the left flank, critically, the enemy animated hulks, wherein Skarbrand is going to help against the animated hulks on the other side, just by virtue of him already being there. Plus, by the looks of it, they actually took a little bit of damage from that bloated corpse explosion, losing about 20% of their HP. Not a lot, mind you, because they're monstrous infantry, but it's something. I'll take it. Alright, in the meantime, I believe the enemy lord has at this point been killed off by Khorne's Bloody Fist in the center of the line. We are still making use of our Blood Speaker, damaged though he is. He does use one blood sacrifice to heal up either Skarbrand or Khorne's Bloody Fist, but is too damaged to use blood sacrifice again because it damages him for healing another unit. Now that I think about it, if we use these guys as support, a barrier amulet would help. I assume that, like Forbidden Rod, blood sacrifice will go through the barrier first. So in terms of itemization, gotta try to keep that in mind, or at least not forget. Anyway, looks like the bounce power shift's fully in our favor pretty much, or at least at 90%, and a few more zombies to be cut down, and the battle will truly be ours. In fact, it is fully in our favor now. The mortal Sartosans are fleeing, and the zombies are crumbling away. And the wonderful thing, I've always said this, I love fighting in the desert because you get all of these battles where everything is perfectly visible, nice and flat terrain, and not, ton of crazy hills and trees and all that nonsense. I do love playing around terrain, don't get me wrong, and water and, impassable terrain and all of that, but at the same time, when there's too many dark maps and too many trees and all that, I'm just trying to see the glorious action. Anyway, speaking of glorious action, a heroic victory under Skarbrand's belt. Alrighty, there we go, and a little bit of better amount of skulls this time around. Skarbrand did okay, but is starting to really take the damage, though on the bright side, the bloodletting is going pretty darn well, and the additional growth and all of that is helping out. I'd love to heal, but we gotta take the skulls, and so skulls we shall take, like so. Like so, then, that did give us enough to move towards Kofur. We can grab the Hounds of the Blood Hunt, and should we grab the Brutes of the Hound right now? We can always transfer them to one of the follower lords. Yeah, why not? Get another mortal unit in here, and hey, there's that obsidian blade as well. Might as well make use of that, since it's the only weapon we've got. Literally the only weapon we've got. Why are you like this, game? Let's get rid of the dragon helm, and I'm going to say the spell shield. Gambler's armor. That's probably better than the void armor. Like so. Lovely. And you are really in need of heals. Oh, you do have Lead the Worthy now. More importantly, campaign movement range. You will also have... What else is useful out of here? Gruesome display. Leadership reduction. Huh. You could use the icon of chaos things. Whatever that one is called. Let's get that speed and strider. Yeah, there's some good stuff there. Alrighty, you guys are good. We have to make sure that we keep moving because we can't leave these guys where they are or they'll kill our main army off. You won't catch up to that, so I think we have to go to Kofur, raise Kofur, and then use that to keep moving. Skarby is so close to rank 13, which is what we need for the Restless Fury. Hopefully we can get to it. Is there anything else that we can or need to do otherwise? We do have a decent amount of skulls, but I don't think we need to dedicate. You can keep moving down there. Any buildings to build? No, I mean, we're in the same turn still. I just keep looking for stuff otherwise, but I guess we're just gonna have to keep moving. All right, so let's go to Kofur. I assume you're going to run away. Let's find out. I'm tempted to auto-resolve it. I'm willing to bet that it will hurt us, though. Perhaps more than we'd like. You know what? I think we just have to fight this. This is a field battle, right? Yeah. Could be a really quick field battle. Yeah, screw it, though. Just go. Do we need to cinematic this, or could we just manual it? I mean, it's a pretty weak army. Decisive victory. Although we're so damaged that maybe it'll still be worthy of our attention. We'll see.
Our Bloodlord expects unfettered carnage. Do not displease him.
Alrighty, our bloody swath of destruction continues. We've fought 2 different types of undead and will now fight, or return to fighting, some Bretonnians with the Brutes of the Hound in tow with their absolutely massive 78 weapon strength and 10 bonus versus infantry at that, plus the Searing Flame that they apply, and obviously the additional damage that they will get out of going berserk after being in melee. They should be quite effective at cutting down droves of peasant mobs and men-at-arms, really anything that they come into contact with from the enemy. And obviously, in addition to the Brutes of the Hound, we've got the Hounds of the Blood Hunt here. You get that. And obviously these good boys will be put to great use. So we do have a unit of Knights Errant, so I think we will probably send them to deal with them. The armor reduction from dampen on the Hounds themselves will help, and we've got the bleed combination, plus of course Khorne's Bloody Fist and the weakness to fire that the burnt application causes will allow these guys to dish out all that much more damage. Oh, actually no, it won't. Well, I guess it'll allow Khorne's Bloody Fist to do more damage. I, for some reason, thought that the Fleshhounds did fire damage, but I was wrong. Oh well. Not a big deal. The enemy army is a relatively small one, so I don't imagine we will have too much trouble here. We are damaged, but not so damaged that it should be of concern. First thing is first, we're going to actually charge through the peasant mobs, both with Skarbrand and with our Blood Shrine. Not towards the enemy lord, but towards the enemy range units to tie them up and make sure that they can't fire for a while. The Brutes of the Hound will then close with the first peasant mob, and we'll start absolutely tearing them to shreds. And again, keep in mind that a lot, if not all of the units currently in Skarbrand's army will eventually peel off to join other armies, as we typically do. But for now, they can all level up nicely in here. Plus, they're the, you know, sort of cheapest units that we can get in the early game, i.e. the piles of bloodletters. I mean, I guess technically Marauders are probably cheaper, like regular Marauders, but the problem there is that we didn't have the building to immediately build them, and so we went with the Bloodletters. Anyway, Skarbrand closes with the enemy Lord now. But generally speaking, the enemy army is having a pretty bad day. We do activate Fight or Die and Horn of Khorne, as well as Sacrifice on the Brutes of the Hound, which is buffing up all the units around them with a plus 100% melee attack at the cost of HP on the Brutes of the Hound. Between them and the Blood Speakers, I do like the sort of elements of Khornate units hurting themselves to damage other, or to buff up other units. I appreciate it. Anyway, the Lord has been knocked out by Skarbrand, who's down to like 25% of his HP now, but he just wants to keep rampaging, and keeping on rampaging he will. We will raise this Bretonnian settlement in just as soon as we cut down all these fleeing peasants. Alright, there we go, another little decent set of skulls and decent set of favor. We continue taking damage, but, well, we continue marching as we do. Are we at rank 3? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I swear the game does this on purpose. Oh, we desperately needed that rank 13, but what can you do? Huh. And Skarbrand is he the only hero that gets his unique skill line at rank 13 rather than 12? Oh well, we will overcome, as we do. Also, yeah, these guys, the Chaos Warriors of Khorne that have been acting as the tip of the spear for our army, continue fighting every fight with fairly minimal casualties. Great job to them. Let's give them some names. Also, I think we're going to sacrifice some skulls to use the blood for the Blood God here. Much as I'd like to sack it, I think we raise and summon the Blood Host and heal at the same time instead. So blood for the Blood God, Lichbone Pennant, and yes, that recovers our movement range. Good. Then we will want to be killed in battle, attack-minded, and second front. Recruit an additional Lord. Actually, speaking of, I did want to check. Oh, we're in the same turn still, aren't we? Yeah. All right. Then we'll leave those guys alone. Skarby. And the first son here. We want to grab Chosen of Khorne, so let's go through the post-battle loot thing. And I wanted to get the Lichbone Pennant on the Brutes of the Hound. So we will replace... Do we just replace the Scarecrow banner? Let's just replace the Scarecrow banner, at least for now. And, oh! We don't have the Blood Collector in your army? Oh, I do like that Blood Collector, though. Character XP gain plus 50 per turn. It is something, it's not that much. I'm gonna say start with the Lichbone Pennant. I'm probably gonna swap out that Khornate Familiar shortly, just because 50 is really not a lot. Probably better on, like, new Lords that really need their level 2 in order to get the Inspiring Presence to get more XP flow. But right now, Skarbrand, you know, is in need of all the XP that we can muster. Anyway, none of you can reach anywhere, right? Just a double, triple, quadruple check. By the looks of it, no. Also, get away from Murtek. We will go after this little fella, King Karas, who will run, I'm sure, who will not run. That's the nice thing about having your army be damaged, I guess. Alright, well, this is the third of the 4 armies of the followers of Nagash here. Plus the army we killed of the Sartosans and the raising that we just did. Let's keep on fighting.
Our Bloodlord expects a better carnage. Do not displease him.
Alrighty, damaged or not, we just got to keep fighting, and fight we shall. And I suppose at the end of the day, the sort of non-stop fighting is, well, A, appropriate, and B, kind of a opposite of what we did last episode, where we had just a couple of battles, but major fights with sort of, you know, being horribly outnumbered by multiple stacks at the same time, and all that. And this is the reverse with lots and lots of smaller fights. Well, not that this is a small fight, mind you, but sort of one-on-one stacks. Although I guess we are still outnumbered in all of these fights where we're fighting one against one stack, just by virtue of the fact that we've been fighting damaged pretty much since the start. But anyway, I digress. It's time to move towards the enemy. Now, keeping in mind that we are damaged, we've taken a slightly different formation. Obviously, the Chaos Warriors of Khorne remain on the flanks to protect the flanks, as they are the most dangerous position in the army, as any enemy units that loop around and depending on the size of the enemy's battle line, they will all converge on the flanks, but as we've seen many a time already, the Chaos Warriors of Khorne are more than adept at holding the line. The Brutes of the Hound, together with the Blood Reaper, will go up the center and go after the Crypt Ghouls, which are the more damage-dealing units with their lethal poison, and we don't want them fighting the damaged Bloodletters, while the Bloodletters sort of fight in the middle. And as usual, we're getting a nice double team of Bloodthirsters moving after the enemy Tomb King here, who will not be Tomb Kinging for very long, as he's already down to 40% of his HP. A couple more hits will see him cast down. Skarbrand will also use his Bloodstone to get more Bloodletters on field, and keep the bodyguard of the Tomb King from interfering. Yeah, that fella had a real bad day. Anyway, looks like the enemy center line is, if not quite collapsing, is also sort of going the way of their king. Slowly but surely being cut down by the Bloodletters, while the rest of the sort of elongated line of the enemy is converging upon our more defensive Chaos Warriors of Khorne. Now we have moved our Flesh Hounds, or at least 3 of them, led by the Hounds of the Blood Hunt, over onto the left flank. We will charge in, but the enemy will counteract that. Or at least, well, that's interesting. Well, that's very interesting. We got a slight desync here. The desync being that when I played this, unless I'm mistaken, the Ushabti were summoned right here, on top of the Hounds of the Blood Hunt, which is why I backed them off. And then promptly sent Skarby and the Khorne's Bloody Fist to rush them. But everything else is moving exactly as it's supposed to. I wonder if just that ability is desynced. Curious, but if that is indeed the case, if it is just that ability, it won't matter over much, just because, well, we won't encounter that ability outside of fighting the Tomb Kings. And judging by the sort of the amount of battles we can fight in a single turn, and how much damage we can do to a faction, we should be free of the Tomb Kings in pretty short order. I expect Arcan to be destroyed next episode, and Khemri to soon follow. Anyway, the Tomb Kings, the Ushabti still get attacked by Skarbrand and the Bloodthirster and torn to shreds, just in the wrong position, rather than here, out there alone. Not that it helped them out at all. And everybody else is fighting as they should, though by the looks of it, not for much longer either, as the balance of power shifts to 90% in our favor. And 100% in our favor, and the enemy begins to melt once more. Not much to say, just waiting out the clock now. Blood Reaper doing his, just having a lot of fun on his big old motorcycle. And these things are always entertaining to watch as well. And the 2 Bloodletters that are on the front of the Blood Shrine gotta be dizzy as heck, though. Otherwise, I imagine the demons can't actually get dizzy. They're just sort of manifestations of the realm of chaos. They don't actually have biology and all that. But anyway, let's see. We got that one last unit to melt. I guess there's another one here, but I suppose we've seen enough. There we go. With that, the battle is ours. Weird little desync with who shopped or not. Alright, there we go, and that should take us over the threshold to rank 13. Got another 1,000 skulls out of it. I'd love to heal, but I think once again we are going to need the skulls in short order, so we'll keep on reaping those captives. Do we have... I really wish that... you know how you can see army buffs? Or you could see army abilities here? I really wish I could see whether we still have Devour Captives from the last time we did it, or we don't. Because if we don't... I'd be very tempted to grab it, if nothing else for the campaign movement range. Damn it. You know what? Let's just do it. Let's sacrifice these skulls, because I need to see whether... Let's just check how many turns we have left on it. Yeah, see? This is what I wanted to see. Oh, wow, we have 30 turns of this. Alright, I don't think we need to do that for a while. We can keep taking the skulls now. More importantly... we now have Rage Incarnate, which replaces Rage Embodied and doubles the effectiveness range. Experience gain plus 100% for Blood Hosts as well. More importantly than that, we will go for Restless Fury, which will replenish campaign movement range after fights and give us 20% speed for the army. Then we'll pop on into, I guess, Drinker of Blood. We really need Gore Feast for Skarby himself. This I don't really care for. Yeah, let's go for Drinker of Blood, and then most importantly, I guess, Blood Rage for the entire army. When units are low in HP, they lose their physical resistance and gain a massive amount of melee attack, plus more replenishment after winning fights. Beautiful. It's what we've been waiting for. Now, you're in March stance, which means you're about to meet the same exact fate that the other armies did. None of you have... yeah. I was hoping for movement range. Also, you're willing to peace out after that? Huh, they're almost willing to become our vassals. That's kind of interesting. But the massive aversion between our beastmanly allies will prevent it. 4.5k. I'm kind of tempted to take it. See, I'm thinking there's one problem. There's a lot of yellow territory here, and we have to give it to somebody because it would be annoying to have to administer all of it. And, I mean, we would probably raise all of this. You know, I just peace out with them.
We're ship-shape.
Although at the same time, I don't really like piecing out as Khorne. It bothers me. So I'm going to set on a whole allied thing. You know what? I'm going to leave a link to a vote down below as to how we proceed with regards to allying with factions. Do we do a sort of limited allies with just a couple of factions, i.e. Norska, Beastmen, Chaos Dwarfs? As limited as possible, essentially, just for access to critical units to make interesting armies, because let's face it, Khorne's roster can use some spicing up. Do we ally with anybody we can, like including Queek, just anybody who will work with us as the second option, or do we ally with nobody and thereby gain no units? Well, I guess with the sold now exception of the Beastmen, because I'm not going to anti-vassalize them, because, yeah. Anyway, yeah, that'll decide as to what we do with Queek and how we deal with Sartosa going forward and whatever else there is. So I'll leave a link down below, vote, make your voices heard, etc., and after a couple of episodes, that decision will be made. In the meantime, though...
Ready to swordfish.
Clan Moors, yeah, still pretty friendly, strength rank 42. And the Awakened do not want peace. They'll probably sail on over, but by then I imagine we will have an army prepared to actually attack them. Speaking of attacking, and never stopping, King Kabosh. We're going to put the kibosh on King Kabosh. Go. Nice one, Ruinous. Anyway, keep fighting.
Song of Immortal. One skull strength core.
Alrighty, I love watching units accelerate into their charge. Anyway, here we go, yet another fight. Man, I'm glad it's the weekend because this episode is going to take a heck of a lot of time to edit, and just by virtue of the amount of battles that we got here. Not that I'm complaining, mind you. Well, maybe a little about the editing, but having a lot of fun with all of these fights. Anyway, we start the battle off with making use of our newly acquired Vanguard deployment on Skarbrand, moving him in together with our 5 units of Fleshhounds to sort of blitz the enemy's left flank, crushing all the fast movers here. And also summoning a unit of bloodletters to make sure that the slower elements of the enemy infantry cannot move to reinforce. In the meantime, our main line will move towards the enemy's center, while we keep our mortal units, which are less fragile, to, stave off as many of the enemy as possible. And the Khorne's Bloody Fist will hunt the enemy lord, making use of its massive anti-large bonus. And with the bonus attack offered by Sacrifice from the Brutes of the Hound, will probably tear through that poor level 1 Tomb King rather quickly. And down he goes to half of his HP. I'm surprised that hit didn't land with 157 melee attack, but, all good. The Brutes of the Hound obviously tear through those poor skeleton warriors like nobody's business. Again, a massive melee attack and weapon strength on these guys. And at 93 kills already. And by the looks of it, this enemy army is in pretty dire straits. The bounce power has shifted to about 65, maybe even 70% in our favor. There are still a giant pile of dire doggos surrounding one of the units of Chaos Warriors of Khorne, but they're not penetrating their armor, and they're certainly not killing off a lot of models, even though these guys have lost about 45% of their HP. But they have certainly well held the right flank. Alrighty, the left flank has pretty much collapsed to the... some Fleshhounds have caught the enemy skeleton horse archers. And by the looks of it, the battle is pretty much ours. The bounce power is fully in our favor. Skarbrand is up to half HP thanks to Gore Feast, now healing him up. And it is only a matter of time until the very last unit on field, a unit of skeleton horse archers, melts away. And it looks like they're not even attempting to run away from the Fleshhounds this time, though, funnily enough, I think they're almost out of ammunition, aren't they? Maybe they weren't, I don't know. Yeah, 8 ammunition remaining. Alright, well. I don't know how much damage they were able to do here. They were actually firing into the back of the... 5,000... nearly 6,000. They were managing to actually fire into the backs of the unit of Chaos Warriors of Khorne, which actually explained why they took so much damage against some of those dire wolves. Khorne's Bloody Fist with all those glowing elements looks pretty darn good against this lighting. But anyway, another victory. Alrighty, there we go. Skarbrand actually gained HP because of the Gore Feast, so now that he can heal, he's well, I wouldn't say happy, but, he's Skarbrand. Anyway, we'll do the Reap Captives and take the skulls this time, and we will also reward you two by giving you names. You've been critical to this army long enough. You can be Blut und Eisen, and you can be Bleeding Hearts. There we go. Okay, there's always a million suggestions asking for this, so Corn Dogs will be our first one. And I know for a fact that somebody will suggest this, as I've had this one suggested in pretty much every campaign where we've had Fleshhounds, so Karanak's Puppies. Alright. You two. Speaking of Karanak, I wonder when we'll get the quest to get him. We should get the quest to get him, right? You know what we should also do? We should also probably send a hero out to Coronate Corruption? Skull Taker? Yeah, okay. To find Skull Taker, at the very least, see what's going on over there. In the meantime, Wrathful Reaper gives you Overwhelm Imbuement. Oh, that's quite nice. but it does cause you to go into Rampage, which ain't so great. I'm actually thinking that we'll want to get the missile resistance as a more critical thing than either one of these. Admittedly, the Coronate Corruption is also nice to have, but I think Skarbrand would prefer to have other things. And yeah, missile resistance, considering how the enemy loves to focus you down, is probably going to be necessary. You, Chosen of Khorne. Lovely. Then, Skarby, proceed to Lashik. And in fact, go this way, past Lashik. And then go to Lashik like this. Then, okay, we will auto-resolve it. I know it's gonna damage us, but okay, we can't fight every single battle. Oh, wow, okay, that hit us way harder than... Yeah, but I knew it was gonna, so what can you do? And we'll Skulls for the Skull Throne. Then we will not be able to reach any other place, and we have no Unholy Manifestations, so we will go into camps. Wait, we can replenish in foreign territory. So we can raid in Sorcerer's Islands, raise that, or occupy Vulture Mountain. We'll see what we're in range for. Oh, we need to occupy both Wizard's Caliph's Palace and Vulture Mountain. Everything else gets raised, obviously. Ooh, there we go. That was one turn and like, I don't know, 7 fights and several auto resolves on top of that. That's our first Coronate Rampage. All the Khorne factions are capable of this to some degree. None as effectively as Torok's, mind you, I believe. Unless there's somebody who can... probably Torok's is the best at it, but anyway, yeah. First Coronate Rampage to some pretty great success, I think. And, well, you never forget your first. Anyway, let's see. That was one turn. Usually we don't get one single turn episodes until really late into the game, but, well, there we have it. I wonder, can we get you now to join the war against followers of... I don't actually want their help. What I wanted was for Cetra to push his forces this way, closer to Skarbrand. If all of his armies were down here, that would be just great, but alas, no dice as yet. I'd say we could recruit, though at the same time, I'm a little bit concerned about the fact that we wouldn't be able to afford it. Granted, regular bloodletters are pretty cheap, especially when we have bloodletting up and running. Although I am inclined to say we still wait the turn. I think we'll be fine. Oh, plus we can globally recruit for it reasonably cheaply if we really wanted to. Anyway, damage building where? In Al Haik, I take it? Yeah, but we're ignoring that for now. And I'm hoping that this new, the Fear Crushers, this new Blood Host can take Virus, maybe with the help of these guys. And then if you could take the Eye of the Panther, I could deal with all of this. All right, end turn. Well, let's see if Khemri takes this opportunity to declare war on us. We are, in theory, weak in the sense that the auto-resolve... no, not yet. Alright, King Agatep is coming back. So was the 4th Army the limit of what these guys had, maybe? I guess we'll see. Ooh, also, I didn't check Skarbrand's mana. We gotta make sure that he doesn't get debuffed by virtue of the position that he's in. Because obviously we haven't been channeling. Alright, what do we have here? Ironhide, melee defense plus 10, enemy leadership minus 4. Yeah, we're gonna take the melee defense plus 10. Your champion has resoundingly proven themselves in battle. Yeah, that's fair. All they now need is to do is carve a great scar into their own flesh, and Karnath shall reward their loyalty. Scar the body. Alrighty, Ironhide. And Skyla and Fingrim earn the following amount from raiding. Go figure. Income from post-battle loot plus 20%, huh? Could have used that, well, whatever. Could have used that during the Rampage turn, but oh well. Skyla Anfingrim was once the bane of the coastlands from frozen Norska to faraway Cathay. A bloodthirsty raider and champion of his tribe, Skyla's name was synonymous with victory and pillage, evoking fear in coastal cities all across the world. Those who raided alongside him saw the fire of a born leader in his eyes. And again, could have done this during the Rampage. In time, Khorne came to notice Skyla's feats, first gifting him with massive brute strength and hulking ape-like arms. Grateful for his blessing, Skyla launched even greater raids, resulting in destruction beyond compare. Thus, Khorne granted him or gifted him with a serpentine tail, ending in a snapping maw. With more merciless slaughter came the Blood God's final gift, the mind of a ravenous beast. Skyla's transformation into a mindless chaos spawn would be complete soon after. Yet Carnage recognizes carnage. To match such desire to kill and maim in the name of Khorne will surely bring the beast forth so that he may continue to garner his master's favor through carnage. Yes. Alrighty, so, Skarby, you are able to reach Vulture Mountain, and you are able to reach Sorcerer's Island. So I guess we'll go here, we'll raise it, and see if we can't proceed back towards Vulture Mountain afterwards, and then occupy it. Pyrrhic Really? This is a Pyrrhic victory. I don't buy it, game. I don't buy it. What do we have here? And the Fear Crushers. You can rename them to the Peasant Crushers. Valiant Defeat, huh? Wow. Wait, defensive... Is there a defensive structure here? Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, there is. That's a problem because they have... Yeah, okay, we're going to need to move these guys in to help then. I wasn't gonna, but it is what it is. Alright, fair enough. What do we have here then? At the Eye of the Panther and at Martek. Not much in either one. I guess we'll try to raise the Eye of the Panther. Pyrrhic victory. I really don't care enough to fight this. We've had too many of these. Just thought it was all that. All right, and then raise it. Skulls for the skull. Huh. Decent amount for sacking. We could also grab a second blood host, but I don't think we need one here. I'm gonna say just skulls it, because we need to use 5,000 to capture the new stuff. And I thought you'd have enough range to get a Martek, which means, by virtue of the fact that you don't, we'll send you to do it. And we'll send you to reinforce. And auto-resolve it. And we'll skulls it up. Yeah. Alrighty, and a Cornate Mutant for Grawl, whatever. Alrighty, then all of you guys, technically speaking, you should be moving to leech Skarby's XP, but by the looks of it, you are needed more here. Also, how far is Tavi? Can you land and help? I think you can. You go here. You go here. And you in regular stance go here. Alright, this is all soon to be... Oh, you know what we'll need also? Skull Throne, we got 2 more turns. We'll need to get Dissipation's domain so that these provinces self-colonize. I'm also tempted to grab the Wound in the World right now because... just in case. Go for it. Like so. Skulls for the Skull Throne. We've been saving up those skulls. Might as well put some of them to use. Tavi, you're not a rank 6. Do we get the rank 6 guy here? Yeah, that's a Rager. I could have perhaps remembered it. Do we want to give you guys items? I mean, we could give the Glittering Scales to Rager at the very least. Yeah, why not? Rager, since you're our highest level guy, I guess you can have the Agent of Blood. Blood Collector should technically go to Skarbrand, but we'll see. Osman of Endurance, Void Armor, and Glittering Scales over Void Armor. Potion of Strength doesn't really work on you. I don't really care that much for the Luckstone either, to be honest. Let's fuse into an Obsidian Amulet. I like the additional armor. How much armor do you have when you're on a Chaos War Shrine? Could always use more, but then missile resistance you could really use more. Anyway, technically speaking, we're out of time. Not technically speaking, I want to fight this just because it's been Skarbrand's show for the entire episode. Let's give somebody else a chance. Go. Alright, so the Herald of Khorne just lists various ways to hurt and kill. Hey, it makes sense. Yeah, anyway, here we go. Yet another fight if you haven't had enough. Though this time not with Skarbrand in the lead, because, yeah, we gotta try another one of our armies. With 3 blood speakers in tow, however, I don't imagine we'll have too much trouble, as we have 3 uses of the murderous exhortations. Granted, they don't actually do a crazy amount of damage, but I'm sure it'll be more than enough against the piles of peasants. Plus, we can also take the opportunity to heal Rager here, our most damaged blood speaker. Essentially, blood speakers using blood sacrifice on each other to keep each other healed up. I wonder, does the heal... I imagine the resistances that units have, assuming that it isn't true damage. Actually, it might be true damage, it just says total damage per second. I'm just wondering whether we heal more than we damage ourselves when we do that. But anyway. We start the battle off with summoning a unit of bloodletters right on top of the units that are on, or the peasant bowmen that are right on top of this platform, as we want the rest of our units, or at least some of our units, to close the distance and start breaking that platform down. In the meantime, the majority, or let's say 2/3 of our army, will move to fight the enemy here. We'll start off with the murderous exhortations, just as the enemy closes with its first unit of knights errant. These are merely Knights Errant, however, not Knights of the Realm, and they've little chance of winning against exalted bloodletters, or even regular bloodletters, much less exalted ones. But we do have to work our way through those peasants while under arrow fire until we can do so, it's gonna take a little bit of time. Second murderous exhortations comes down on the enemy, and just out of curiosity, you're currently popping it off, so you will have already used it, and I just want to see... You've done about 9,000 damage, though you were hitting them for a while, so probably about 8,000 damage from the exhortations. Like I said, nothing crazy. And we could probably do more with a single Searing Doom or something like that, spellwork-wise, but certainly enough to warrant bringing these guys. There we go. Plus they're having a grand time taking out all those peasants. Interesting that they have seemingly a regular Chaos Star for the skull rack on their back, rather than the sort of ornate shape of one. But I suppose a lot of these things do as well. We got another one of these. Now this one looks almost like a little mini Chaos Gate. Anyway, the bounce power still only about 60% in our favor. We have not yet managed to break down that barricade. In fact, nowhere near it, as the enemy keeps popping out units and interfering with our attacks. It's actually really quite vexing, let's say, the way that these platforms work, as the units that pop on out of there essentially prevent these guys from attacking. But if we try to click on one of these units and order the unit to actually attack them, what happens is these units will try to run away, because the actual unit is partially, at least, back here, and the units think, oh, I can't reach that unit. I will not attempt to go through the barricade. I will therefore attempt to do this. So it's really irritating to command units like this when the AI plays around the barricades. Not that it's important, mind you. It's still easy to overcome, just one of those minor annoyances. Anyway, a second Bloodletter summon comes down to try to trap the Prophetess, but she does hit us with a nice Flock of Doom. Not getting a ton of kills, but doing a solid 5.5k damage and forcing the 2 Chaos Furies, which were helping out, to flee. On the bright side, the 2 units of Knights Errant, both of which committed themselves to our bigger assault, have pretty much been destroyed. With the Blood Shrine leading the exalted units of Bloodletters, the Knights are being cut down. And by the looks of it, with another murderous exhortations coming down, these knights will be out of the picture probably within moments. There we go. Beautiful. With the knights fleeing, this portion of our army can now move to aid the ones still trying to work their way through that barricade. Although the blood Reaper, no, Herald of Khorne will actually move to try to knock out that prophetess. So got 44 seconds on the summon bloodletter, so hopefully they can continue pinning her in place until we're there to take her skull. In the meantime, barricade still at 7.7k. Oh well, just gonna have to keep fighting, but the rest of our units have now arrived and will work their way through the barricades from the back. Oh, I do like the blood speakers on foot as well. Huh, maybe in some of the armies rather than... I mean, it seems wasteful not to put the blood speaker on a blood shrine, right? Doesn't it? Even though they do look nice fighting on foot. I'll think about it. I hate to build blood shrines and war shrines, rather, for the blood speakers when we can just use heroes with them, but I suppose it is capacity dependent and all that. Anyway, with that, their horns of retreat sound and the last of the enemy units break, I believe, giving the battle to us, -1 unit. The battle pilgrims, which in SFO have unbreakable and will therefore fight to the last. I am fairly amused at seeing this, as oftentimes when fighting Bretonnian armies, the battle pilgrims will be the last units on field, so you'll have like droves of Knights of the Realm and questing knights, which are not unbreakable, shattered and fleeing the battlefield, while the peasants fight on. You'd think the knights would be shamed by seeing peasants bravely continuing to fight while they themselves flee for their lives like cowards, but I'm sure they simply tell themselves that the peasants are merely doing their duty and ensuring that their lords can, you know, pull off a tactical retreat. Whatever helps them sleep at night. But anyway. With that, I do believe the last of the battle pilgrims falls, and the battle is well and truly ours. Lovely. Alright, there we go, no problemo. Huh, 5,000 gold out of that. Thank you, Skyla and Fengrim. I guess that really helped out. Alright, and the damage is pretty minimal, plus we will get additional skulls out of... Huh. I guess it was a tier 3, so we could occupy it at a tier 2 or take the skulls. I still think we just let it self-colonize, though. Take the skulls and, well, yeah. Makes Khornate sense. What is this? Oh, Skyla's on field. Huh. Now, I guess we should put him in here, shouldn't we? Because we want him to get as much XP as possible. Yeah. Alright, I'm glad I fought that, though. I guess we have no choice but to get rid of one of the bloodletters. They have been leveling. These two aren't as leveled as the others, though, so let's get you, and I guess one of you, whichever is less level, you. Like so. There we go. And Skyla, pop on in, buddy. Training. Thank you, thank you. This is still Pyrrhic Victory and is a waste of time. Well, wait, is this a... No, it's a field battle. I guess they do have some Ushabti with great bow and some artillery and stuff, but it feels like something of a waste of time. But maybe not. I don't know. I'll think about it. Maybe I'll do it between the episodes. Maybe I won't. What I do know is that we are very, very much out of time at this point, and I'm going to call this episode here. Next time, we quickly wipe out Arcan like this. We will spend skulls on Vulture Mountain Wizard Caliph's Palace, and then we will hopefully use them to occupy all of these territories, or, you know, use the Khornate ruin occupation to grab those. The public order here isn't great, I will admit. And we may have to repair and build a public order territory in one of these places. Also, I think next episode we will start building our second army. While technically we don't make any income, we have been doing a decent job at killing enough things and getting enough post-battle loot in order to do so. So that's probably what we'll do. And, ooh. We could go for Forsaken. Well, we'll figure out what we want to build next time around. So stay tuned for it. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching. Also, don't forget to vote.